Welcome friends to this video. We are going to be learning about the anatomy of the spine and the vertebrae. So one of the best ways to learn about anatomy is to draw it. So we're going to draw and sketch the anatomy and the vertebrae, and we're going to take a look at it from the side view. So if you take a look at this anatomy over here, if you look at the front, it's a pretty straight line, and same thing with the back, it's pretty straight. So to get an idea of the curvature, we're going to take a look at it from the side. So let's get started with the proportions. I'll start with the top and the bottom, and then I'll split that in half, and I'll split that each section in half again. And that'll give us 4 proportions. The top one is roughly 3/4 of that. The bottom one is roughly 1 1/4. So let's erase the other lines. And that'll give us the 3 main sections of the spine. So I will start by drawing a head here. And then I'll draw the spine, which has a slight curve, mostly straight. And then the next portion curves for the ribs. It curves back. About like this. This has the most dramatic shape. And then the next portion is the lumbar, and it curves back in the other direction and is mostly perpendicular with this neck portion there. And then the last portion here is the sacrum and tailbone, which has a slightly curved as well. It curves back this direction. Let's also add in the ribs and the pelvis. So the ribs are in this middle thoracic section, and it has a shape of an egg. So we'll make a kind of an oval shape right here for the ribs. And then the pelvis is going to be on the bottom section here, and it's kind of an oval that's tilted in this direction. The top section here is a cervical. The section here with the ribs is called the thoracic. The bottom section here is called the lumbar. The section here on the pelvis is called the sacrum. And the tailbone section is called the coccyx. Now let's talk about the vertebra. Now the vertebra, you can have anywhere from 32 to 34, and I'll get to that in a second. And one way to remember the main portion, 3 portions of the spine, is 7 a.m. for breakfast, 12 p.m. for lunch, and 5 p.m. for dinner. So 7, 12, and 5. And then the remainder portion is 5 again, and then the last portion could be for anywhere from 3 to 5, depending on the person. So let's take a look at how the vertebrae look here. And I'm going to take the lumbar because they're one of the biggest, and I'm going to start with an oval shape, and kind of dips in here like a bean type of shape. And then we have some spikes or process that stick out that hold the muscles and the ligaments. So we have one on the left, and then we also have one on the right. And then we have one on the back portion here. So this one is called the transverse process. And this is the spinous process. And then the spinal cord goes right here in this kind of triangular shape here. So that's kind of what our vertebrae looks like. Now let's add it in here to the side view, taking one of these lumbar. These are one of the biggest. So they fit in right here. And the spinous process is generally in proportion to the size of the body. So it's going to be looking about like this. Let's take a look at the side view here. And then one thing to notice on the thoracic, you can see how far they come down. So they're not going to be as big, and they don't require as much movement because the rib cage doesn't allow that part of the spine to move. So they're actually going to come down quite a bit further and protect that spinal cord and not have as much movement there. And then up in the neck are the smallest vertebra, and also the spinous process, which is proportion to the vertebra body. It's about like this. And one thing to note, the neck at the top, there's an atlas one that doesn't have that. That supports the cranium. Now, if you want to practice more with the spine, you can work on the extension, the flexion, so the moving back and forward. You can also work on from side to side, or you can also work on the rotation of any three of these sections of the spine to get a better idea of the movement and how these three body parts work together. As always, I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any video suggestions, please leave those in the comments and I will try to get to them as I work through my videos in anatomy. My goal is to work through the human anatomy so I can better draw the human figure. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any upcoming videos, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. So long.